Welcome, it's Holly with Wild Blessings. This is Teaching Tuesday, and today we're just going to explore the wonders of Black Walnut, which I'm obsessed with, and we're going to have a lot of other adventures as well. But first I want to introduce you to some really special guests. Guys, come around this way, and welcome to all the new members. I'm so honored that you would join me. Thank you all for participating in our contest this week. And this is my dear friend Tristan and his sister, my dear friend Clara. And they're here all the way from
North Dakota.
North Dakota. And why are you in North Dakota?
We moved there because we were gonna live on our family's ranch.
Yep. And so do they have trees there?
No trees.
That's so sad.
No black walnut trees.
No, but where did you used to live, Clara?
Here.
Here. So that's how we became close, right? Is we've done a lot of wild adventures together, and they used to live on a beautiful farm here in Bethel. And so I'm just so excited that they're back. I've snagged them for the whole day. And tonight we're going to actually cook dinner over a rocket stove, which Jason will be teaching Tristan how to make. And then we'll be learning that next week. So I'm excited. Always we start off with herbing around. And so I'm going to show you what that means, because you're going to be doing the work over there until I need you back up here. Okay. So what we've done is we've cracked a lot of hickory nuts, and they need to be taken out. So why don't you get a bowl out of that cabinet right there? On the left. And you can put the finished ones in there. So you're just going to use a nut pick to just reach in and grab these little boogers out and then stick them in there. And the hickory nut, I think, is probably the tastiest nut. We talked about it a lot last week. So I have for you, if you need to crack them a little bit more, I have nut crackers. I have one good pick. And then where did you put those nails? That's okay. You don't need to bring them. I only had one good pick, so Clara went down and got some nails as well. And so you can take turns working with the pick or the nails. And you can go do that. Be careful you don't trip over the wires. And then when I call you back, we're going to do a sensory quiz. Okay? All right. Whew. So yeah, we've been still collecting lots of harvest. We'll be talking about what's on my wild counter in a little bit. I just cannot even believe the abundance that's out there, from roots, and even flowers are still out there, and the autumn olive berries are still kicking, and the beauty berries are doing well, and the apples are still amazing, and but the nuts are kind of like the star of the show right now. All right, so oh guys, I need you back. I forgot. So we made a wild every day, or each week we do a wild tea, and so Tristan made this one for us. And where is it? It's right here. All right, buddy, what did you do? How did you make it? Go ahead and open it. And if you could pour, here's your cups. So pour one for you and one for Clara.
First, tell us what kind it is.
Yeah, tell us what it is. Do you see these little purple berries right there? Those are called beauty berries. So I made a beauty berry syrup, and out of these amazing berries. And then what did you put in it to make it fizzy? Oh, you can pour it up, like fill it up to the gold. Sparkling water. He used some seltzer water. So it'll give it a little bit of a pizzazz. And it has the flavor of the beauty berry. And let's do this one too for Jason. Jason, you want some?
Sure, let's try it.
Okay. It looks beautiful. Beautyberry has a really unusual flavor. I think it tastes kind of like Kool-Aid. Tell me what you think. Here,
This one.
Clara. Wait. Okay, let's click. Cheers. It tastes just like Kool-Aid to me. What do you
What
think?
flavor Kool-Aid? Kool-Aid's in a lot of flavors. What do you mean? What flavor? Tristan, what do you think?
It has its own flavor. It really does. It's not
like
it's not like
cherry
anything
or
else. It's not like autumn olive berry.
raspberry
It's not like strawberry. It's very, very unusual. Here,
Right.
Jace.
one of them can bring it around to me.
Okay, can you take that over? All right, you guys go around this way so you don't trip over wires.
Yeah, come around.
Go around that way. Okay. So that was our wild tea. We're not doing a wild cooking demonstration today. We'll be making a wild lunch, and I'll show pictures of that in our slideshow for next week. Okay, so let's talk about, I wanted to share a few wild thoughts. So this morning, I went out to spend time with the Lord, and I was blown away at what the content was from my devotional. This is called Streams in the Desert. It's kind of falling apart. And today is October 26th, and so I thought I would just read this to you because it really blessed me. Because we're always talking about, fear not, for I am with you, meaning God is with us. He will never leave us or forsake us, and we can be still and quiet and relax even in the midst of a storm because of the one who knows us and is with us and who loves us. So listen to this example of solitude. Solitude is so important. So this is the scripture in Matthew 14:23. It says, Jesus went up a mountainside by himself to pray, and when evening came, he was there alone. Jesus in his humanity felt the need of complete solitude, to be entirely by himself, alone with himself. Each of us knows how draining constant interchange with others can be. You guys can just go sit down, and you can get started on your nut thing. As part of humankind, Jesus knew this and felt the need to be by himself in order to regain his strength. Solitude was also important to him in order to fully realize his high calling, his human weakness, and his total dependence on his Father. Because he's our role model, so he demonstrated that. As a child of God, how much more do we need times of complete solitude, times to deal with the spiritual realities of life and to be alone with God the Father? If there was ever anyone who could dispense with special times of solitude and fellowship, it was the Lord. Yet even he could not maintain his full strength and power for his work and his fellowship with the Father without his quiet time. God desires that every child of his would understand and perform this blessed practice, that his people would know how to train its children to recognize this high and holy privilege, and that every believer would realize the importance of making time for God alone. Oh, the thought of having God all to myself, all alone to myself, and knowing that God has me all alone to himself. Andrew Murray. Lamartine, the first of the French Romantic poets and a writer of the 19th century, in one of his books, wrote of how his mother had a secluded spot in the garden where she spent the same hour of each day. He related that nobody ever dreamed of intruding upon her for even a moment of that hour. It was the holy garden of the Lord to her. Pity those people who have no such Beulah land. Jesus said, go into your room, close the door, and pray. For it is in quiet solitude that we catch the deep and mysterious truths that flow from the soul of the things God allows to enter our lives. So here's the meditation. My soul, practice being alone with Christ. The scripture says when he was alone with his disciples, he explained everything. Mark 4:34. Do not wonder about the truth of this verse, for it can be true of your life as well. If you desire to have understanding, then dismiss the crowd just as Jesus did. Let them go away one at a time until only Jesus is left with you. Have you ever pictured yourself as the last remaining person on earth or the only person left in the entire universe? If you were the only person remaining in the universe, your every thought would be God and I, God and I. And yet he is already as close to you as that. He is as near as if no heart but his and yours ever beat throughout the boundlessness of space. Oh, my soul, practice that solitude. Practice dismissing the crowd. Practice the stillness of your heart. Practice the majestic song, God and I. Let no one come between you and your wrestling angel. You will receive conviction, yet pardon when you meet Jesus alone. George Matheson. So that just seems so perfect. I know it's just true for my life that the time I spend alone with God gives me the confidence to face whatever during the day. And the beauty that I see all around me, soaking in his presence through his creation, is just so miraculous and so special. All right, so let's get meeting our friend Black Walnut. And I intended to get one of the long leaves. They have like 23 leaflets on them. Whoops, but I forgot to get one, and I don't have a black walnut on my land. But Tristan's going to plant one, and so is Clara. They're each going to plant one on my land today. So I can't wait to see how they grow, because they're very quick growers, and they're very hardy and resistant to bugs, and they just tend to grow. So I'm excited about that. So my friend focus is this. Do you ever have a friend that is kind of a hard nut to crack? Like someone who is really hard to get to know. They're maybe really quiet. They're not easy to be around necessarily, but you're glad that you took the time to discover how wonderful they really are. So black walnuts are free, but they're really not free because they are super labor intensive. And the kids and I are going to spend a lot of time figuring that out this afternoon as we process a lot of black walnuts. It's a chore. It's intensive to harvest them, which is the fun part. The hulling and the shelling and the curing is a chore. They're a fortress. It takes a bit to figure out how to storm their gates. I don't remember where I read that, but I thought that was so cool. But it's so worth it. Black walnut cures many ailments. It tastes amazing. It is a beautiful tree, and it has a beautiful hardwood and a beautiful shade tree with its fern-like foliage. It can grow up to 50 feet tall or 60 feet tall, I read another place, and about as wide, and can live for 100 years. So let's get into it. The formal name of the black walnut is Jugalone nigra. Nigra means black, and so Jugalone nigra. And it has this is the black walnut, and then it has the hull. I'm sorry, the hull is covering the black walnut. So where did I put oh, Jason did them for me. All right. So guys, you're going to be doing a sensory test later, and you're going to have to buy your feeling with your fingers, because I'm going to blindfold you. You're going to have to tell which each of these nuts are that we're going to talk about now. So pay attention to this part. So this is an English walnut, which actually they don't grow here in the United States. They grow over in Europe and in the Mediterranean area, and it's called Jugalone regia. Yeah, regia. And this is the English walnut. And then it has another relative. All right, let's show that. So this is the English walnut, and this is the black walnut. And it has...
Oh, wait a minute. You're showing the black walnut with the...
Just comparing it to... This is the black walnut, and this is the English walnut. So then it has another cousin, and in that family, and the family is Jugalone. Jugalone is the family, and in that family, there's also the butternut. And these are kind of like a football shape. Actually, they're just like a football shape, only they come out green and very, very, very sticky. So I've collected a whole lot of these because I've recently found about 5 of them here in Todd. Butternut trees they're kind of going through a demise. They've had a blight ever since the 1965, where I'm going to actually read this to you because this is happening all over, and it's super important to be aware of. So it's the blight of the butternut. Is started in 1967. Sorry, it's a canker disease that's been spreading throughout the entire range of butternut. 80% of butternut trees have died from this disease. So this is the part I want to read. The plight of the butternut illustrates a major problem in trees all over the world. International trade, on the rise for hundreds of years, is bringing trees into contact with insects and diseases that they have never encountered before. So you've heard of the big ones, like we talked recently about the chestnut blight, which killed off billions of chestnut trees up by the time 1950 rolled around. The Dutch elm disease is another tragic disease, the emerald ash borer. But you may not have heard of all the hundreds of other foreign organisms that trees are being exposed to. And it's not just in North America. New diseases are cropping up throughout Europe as well. So it's really important to protect these trees and to and keep planting them, because we don't want to see the end of the butternut. Honestly, I think the butternut tastes the best of the 3 different walnuts. So let's go over the walnuts again. So this is the black walnut. This is the regular one, the English walnut that we're used to buying in the stores. This is what the black walnut looks like, and we'll talk about what it tastes like in a little bit. It has a very, very different taste to the English walnut. And then the butternut has an amazing buttery, very sweet, almost a maple syrupy kind of flavor. And so we opened up just one of those. So the kids are going to be sampling these and figuring out by taste as well as sight without their fingers or without their eyeballs, so with their fingers, so that they can tell which is which. All right. So let's see. Let's talk a little bit about nicknames. The nicknames of the black walnut tree is the American walnut. And California is where most of the walnuts are grown. Like 90% of all the walnuts that we receive or that we get in the stores are grown in California. And it's also called Jupiter's acorn. And one of the folklore I read about this was that Juno, which is Jupiter's wife, which was a goddess in Rome, she looked at them as a fertility enhancer. So they started a practice of throwing walnuts at a bride and a groom after a wedding to enhance the possibilities of fertility. So it has kind of an idea of fertility with the walnuts. And then also in Pompeii, and it's so interesting to me, there's so many volcanoes erupting right now in our world, with La Palma over in the Canary Islands and up in Iceland, and I can't remember where the other one is, but it's just so amazing how quickly the terrain can absolutely change, drastically change. But when Pompeii was, when Vesuvius exploded and covered and completely smothered Pompeii, there are walnut, completely whole walnut shells that are found on the tables that have been excavated. And so Lewis and Clark used them in their explorations west and in their recipe book. So they're just been used all throughout history. And there's even I've never heard this before, but I did read that someone thinks that there's an old legend that the wise men also brought walnuts to Jesus along with the frankincense, gold, and myrrh. So when you learn about why it's such an amazing nut, you'll think, well, I can understand that. That's pretty cool. So let's see. So now we're going to talk about what does it look like. Oh, and also in World War II, families living in small villages of France had little to eat, and they turned their walnut groves for a source of protein. Because of all of the nuts, the walnut is the highest in protein, the black walnut in particular. All right, so let's talk about what it looks like. The leaves are alternate branching, and they are pinnately compound leaves. So the leaflet can be like really long and very feathery looking. And each leaf, that's a leaf, is this big. And each leaflet are up to 23 leaflets on it. And it does have a terminal leaflet at the end, but that tends to fall off. Looks very similar to the butternut leaf as well. So the leaves can be up to 1 to 2 feet long, which is interesting. And each leaf has an amazing smell when you crush it. And so I don't know. See, I had a little tiny one I crushed for the kids to smell, but can't find it right now. All right. Anyway, so when you find your black walnut tree, because they're all over the high country, go ahead and scrunch it up and smell it, because it has the most beautiful aromatic smell. The nut meats smell. Here, Tristan, come on up here, bud, just for a second. And tell me what this smells like. This is crazy.
I love the smell of walnut. It's like the best smell.
Say it louder. What did you say?
I love the smell of walnut. It's like the best smell.
Okay, well, this is a lime. So to smell that one. Do they smell similar?
I don't think it smells. I don't smell
Well,
it.
we have to scratch it. Well, you know what a lime smells like.
I know what lime smells like, yeah.
Yeah, this one's kind of old. Okay, that's better. Now smell that. Now smell this.
A little bit.
A little, so it almost looks like a lime, a little bit, and it smells sort of like a lime. It's just got the most amazing flavor to it. Yeah, absolutely. Kind of a lemony, limey flavor or smell. I do love that as well. Okay. So, and then the sound of black walnuts. I used to teach at the Todd Mercantile, and in the fall, my truck would be underneath this huge black walnut tree, which you'll see in the slideshow. And you could just, as I'm teaching, you could just hear bang, 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 as all of these black walnuts would fall on my truck and all the cars nearby, and also on the roof of the Todd Mercantile. So it has a very loud sound as these little guys fall. Big guys. They look like baseballs. In the Doctrine of Signatures, the shape of the walnut resembles the brain, and the nut would be beneficial. It's for everything related to the brain or the heart. The black walnut is helpful for. Okay, it does have a quirk and a little bit of an oddity. The root systems that grow underneath the black walnut trees are filled with jugalone, Juglone, which is a natural herbicide. So there are a lot of trees and plants that won't grow near a black walnut because it is a natural herbicide. So one year I took all of my husks that I didn't use, and I put them in a 5-gallon bucket, filled it up with water, let it sit all winter long, and then I poured that on my driveway, which is made of gravel, where I'm always struggling with weeds coming up in my gravel, and I don't like that. So it's one way to kill your weeds. It's a natural herbicide called Jugalone. You can buy it as well. There's so many things you can do, as you'll see with black walnut. Okay. You don't want to compost the shells because the walnut hulls will suppress the growth of other plants. Like tomatoes and apples won't grow anywhere near black walnut shells. So we talked about what do you look like, we talked about where you live, and now let's talk about what do you do. So it is highly, highly nutritious. So let's talk about that a little bit. They have a rich source of bioactive compounds capable of promoting multiple health benefits. It's a rich source of omega-3 fatty acids, super helpful with eczema and skin conditions. It's the highest protein content of any tree nut. The high oil content in there is very helpful in improving heart health. And it's got 57% more protein than the English walnut. So compared to other tree nuts, black walnuts contain the most proteins and the fewest carbs and starches. On the vitamin front, black walnut includes the highest quality of vitamin B6, and it's high in vitamin E, selenium, folate, antioxidants, vitamin A, iron, and it's high in an unsaturated fat. It's really good. The walnut oil. Now, I'm out of my walnut oil, so I just brought some hazelnut oil. Not that this is walnut oil, but let's just pretend. So the walnut oil is amazing for lots of things that we're going to talk about shortly. But right now, I wanted to say that if you use this in your salads instead of almond or olive oil or any other oil, it will help you feel full and help your body to fight its craving for fats, because it is such an amazing weight loss tool, the black walnut oil, and you can buy that at the store. So they're so delicious. I give in my slideshow, you'll see lots of different recipes you can do. You can just basically use it how you would use any nut. But my favorite memory is that my mom used to make Christmas cookies. They were sugar cookies, the kind that you would use little cookie cutters. And when she was done making those, or we would make them and decorate them, then she would take the leftover dough and she'd roll it out again. And she'd take black walnuts and smash them into do you remember this, Jason? The sugar cookies? And then she would cut them with like a pizza cutter so that they could be like long strips. And she'd make them into little squares or rectangles. And they were probably my favorite Christmas cookie of all. And they just have the most amazing cherry flavor to them. Kind of like, they give you like a very sweet aftertaste of like a cherry. Very, very different from the regular walnut. Okay, so let's see. You can use them in salads, just any way that you would use a nut. Very crunchy and super spicy, just an unusual nut. Okay, so medicinally, you can make a tincture out of the hulls. So here's one that I made. I used 50% vodka, and this is I made this for a parasite cleanse, but it has a lot of medicinal properties besides killing parasites. So you can make a tincture out of the hulls and also make it into powders. You can buy all of these things, or you can just collect them and make them yourself. Use the green ones with no bugs. So here's a perfectly, if you can push your finger in a little bit, then it's ready to go. And honestly, if you wait until the nuts fall off the tree or the hulls fall off the tree, then they're ripe. And if you have to really pull them hard to get them off the tree, then they're not ready yet. But one of the problems with letting it land on the ground is that they tend to get worms. They're called husk larvae in them, and which is not going to hurt the actual nut. They're not going to get into this hard nut to crack. This hard nut to crack takes a little bit of work. So that's not a problem. But if you want to make medicine out of these husks or make a powder, then you want to get them when they're really clean and there are no worms in them. You don't want to deal with worms when you're making medicine. So like, for example, I would not use this one for, see, look at how slimy it gets in there. It's a real process to clean these things out and to get them cleaned up, and it will absolutely stain you black. So use gloves, and you'll see that whole process when Jason and I do it with the kids this afternoon. Yeah. So this is a fresh one, and it's perfect. You can see you can indent your finger a little bit. This one's starting to get a little bit, this is really ripe and ready to go. So make medicine out of this one, not out of this one, the husks I'm talking about. Once you take these off, it's very slimy and black inside. And then, of course, this is the nut that we find.
Would you show the one that's got the slime still on it there? That's what I'm showing to the audience.
Okay,
right
this one here.
Yeah, that's what it looks like when
really
you take
sticky.
off the husk outside.
Yeah.
Right, and then when you
clean it, and the way you clean it is you can put them all into like a large trash can, depending on how many you're dealing with, or in a 5-gallon bucket or something. Jason has a paint spinner. Or you could just use a stick, because you want to take these that look like this, and you want to beat them up and just let them hit against each other and abrasively knock off all of the slimy stuff and get them clean. And you're going to have to pour the water. So actually, if you have I would not pour this water into a flower garden or a tomato patch or something, because it will kill any plants. But what you want to do is put it over something where you want to kill weeds, because all of that jugalone is in there. Okay, then when you open up the nut, this is what it looks like on the inside.
Okay, they're seeing it now.
And it really takes a lot of work to get these out. So when you buy the black walnuts at the store, they're a lot more expensive than the English walnuts, because they are so labor intensive to get them out. Okay, so, and then here's the butternut, which tastes amazing. So you can cure these. So after you get them out like this, you want to put them, I'll show you all my curing bags. So here's just a few of my butternuts. And so they've got air all around them. You can use chicken wiring, whatever you want to do. You can put them even in paper sacks, but you can't have them too thick, because you've got to have air or they will mold, and then you just got to throw them out. So this is my chestnuts, just a few of the chestnuts I have. And here's a few of the hickory nuts. We're going to be doing lots more hickories today. The same thing I wanted to share with you that we did last week, where we did the floating test, where if you want to determine if a nut is a good nut, it will sink in the water, like dump these all in a 5-gallon bucket and then pour water in there. And any of the nuts that float on top are filled with air pockets and are probably not good nuts. So just discard those. And the ones that have sunk to the bottom, those are the ones that you're going to process. So once you've processed them, then you're going to cure them by keeping them like in one of those little bags that I have right there. They're just laundry mesh bags, or however you find the best way. There's lots of videos online about how to do this, but they will last for a long, 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 long time. I still have some from a couple of years ago that are still viable and still delicious. If you're concerned about them, you can also freeze them, and that way you'll make sure, because they're so high in oil content, that they can go rancid a little quicker than some of the other nuts that don't have as much of the oil in them. Max. Okay. The husk fly larvae are the ones that I was talking about. They don't hurt the nut at all. They're just like, they just like to eat the hull for food. Don't use hulls with maggots if making tinctures or powders. Throw those hulls into a plastic bucket to use for your Jugalone for herbicide next spring. So I want to read this story because it's honestly unbelievable to me, and I'm so excited. So we're talking about medicinal purposes for, we talked about parasite cleanse. That's amazing. It's amazing for heart health. It's also incredible for cancer fighting because of the selenium that's in there, and also the antioxidants. It helps to reduce bad cholesterol with the omega-3s, and is a blood pressure management with the high levels of oleic acid, which help to reduce blood pressure. All right, let's talk about this. This is crazy. And I have a serious issue with my mouth right now, so I'm going to definitely try this. So I don't remember where I read this, but this is so cool. I've read about medicinal uses of the black walnut tincture, which is what I've made here. So I made up a black walnut tincture last year. I had a friend of mine that got an abscessed tooth that was loose, and his cheek was swollen, and he was in much pain. He wiggled the tooth to show me and begged me to pull it out with some pliers, but I just could not do it. So I convinced him to swish the full-strength tincture in his mouth a few times and spit it out. He did. And Lord love a duck. Out came whitish pus and other matter, and after 3 swishes, my old friend was not in pain. Still swollen, but the pain was gone, and 3 days later, his tooth was not moving, and the swelling was gone. For months, we laughed about it, but it worked. I read that the Indians would chew the bark for teeth remedies, and from what I've read about it on the internet, I was blown away. I don't know where I read that, because this was from, I taught this class years ago, and I found that then, and I didn't keep track. But whoever wrote that just blows my mind. And I've never heard the expression, Lord love a duck, but I'm going to try it for sure. So cool. Also really helpful with skin conditions because of its wonderful omega-3 fatty acids. Good for eczema, good for psoriasis. Just even eating them is helpful. Bone strengthening because of the manganese that is in there. Laxative, if you use the bark, makes a great laxative. Antifungal, so you can use it for athlete's foot. A lot of the dried powder is sold, like Mountain Rose Herbs, lots of places you can buy online, Amazon, the powder of the black walnut. And then for the skin, it's just amazing for fighting wrinkles, a remedy for infections, for helping with psoriasis, putting it in your bath. And then hair, this is crazy awesome. It's helpful with hair loss. And because of the omega-fatty 3 acids that prevent cell damage. And also it fights dandruff and promotes hair growth because it's high in potassium. Are you convinced yet? Isn't this the best nut? I'm so amazed. It will help you fight insomnia, and because it contains melatonin, for heaven's sakes, and that promotes sleep and regulates it as well. So many benefits. Okay, let's talk about its usefulness. So this is kind of cool. It's got these abrasive, if you take the husk, so after you get the nut out and you've got a lot of the husk left, what they do with this is they grind it into different powder densities or whatever. Super, super fine. They use for cosmetic purposes, for like facial masks and stuff, as a fine abrasive, not abrasive, what do you call that? Well, like a skin mask or something. But if you have it a little bit like coarser, they use it to sandblast submarines, and the Navy uses it to clean their ships. And that can be used again and again and again. So it's really cost effective. And so I've got some pictures of that in my slideshow. What else does it do? Let's see. Oh, Oh, it's been used to clean the Statue of Liberty. Is that not cool? So it can be used in water filtration and cosmetics, like I said, as fillers and extenders. As the powder can be extreme in dynamite production as a filler. Pliny suggests crushing the walnut shells finally to use to fill dental cavities. That's weird. And King Louis XI's barber used heated walnut shells instead of a razor to prevent nicks. Interesting. But really what it's most famous for is its furniture. Its wood is so, so, so beautiful. I don't know if we have anything walnut in our house, do we? I don't think so. But I have pictures on my slideshow of some walnut furniture, a lot of instruments like violins and guitars, gun stocks, unbelievably useful. It's very prized, very expensive hardwood. It doesn't splinter easily either, so that's one reason why it's well prized. And it has a beautiful stain. Let's see. It's been used for wood carving. Even wooden shoes were made from the walnut tree. And during the First World War, it was used for airplane propellers. Okay, I've done this before, so this is kind of fun. I have definitely spent time dyeing with different wild edible plants. And this one here, I dyed with, oh no, this was my goldenrod one. Never mind. I have somewhere, I have a black walnut one. And this was a white handkerchief. I did this with Vicki and the Girl Scouts, Vicki Randolph. But anyway, the black walnut one turns out very dark brown and the goldenrod turned out gold. All the different plants have a different dye, which is so fascinating to me. But you can use it for dyeing hair, and you'll see that in my slideshow, the before and after. And I'm thinking of trying that with my hair just to see what it's like to dye your hair with the black walnut, because it turns out really darker, and that would be kind of fun to try. Also, it's been used by scribes to make ink, and weavers use it to make a really rich dark brown dye. And let's see. Oh, the Egyptians used the black walnut oil for embalming fluid. All right. So that's amazing. I'm just in awe of this incredible plant. And I wanted to share with you, when I taught this class in 2017, I had my students write a poem. And so from time to time, we do a poem here on Wild Blessings, but it was a lot more fun when we were just all together and I'd set the timer after I taught and we would just say, go. And everybody would write for 10 minutes and then they would read their poems. So I'm going to read to you what some of these poems were. This is by Lumini Merced, and she wrote this. Black walnuts. I am one tough, hard nut. I am big and bad, the size of a baseball. You can hurl me at intruders to drive them away. I'll put dents in your car if you park underneath me while I'm free falling to the ground. I clear the territory around me with chemicals from my roots that kill off other plants. I'll clear your inner terrain by killing off parasites and fungus. I make a great abrasive for cleaning huge surfaces like ships to fine surfaces like your skin. I will turn your hands black if you mess with me. It will take days of labor to get to the real meat of me. And at that wild core of me lies a delicious nut, wonderful for eating and baking into cookies and cakes, which evokes memories of a past era when people recognized me and had the patience. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. So we would read, then we'd go around and read our poems to each other. And sometimes we would laugh hysterically. Other times we would cry. It was so special. And then this one I want to read by Lynn Maxwell. From Grandma's rocker by the kitchen window, I see the sun filtering through the leaves of the black walnut tree. The branches brushed against the roof of the tractor shed. Cousins playing ball with the leathery green spheres while Grandma baked her famous black walnut cake. My favorite were Mom's black walnut meringue cookies, which could never be replicated after we moved. All of these were but memories until I discovered Wild Blessings. That was so special. Okay, so now we're going to watch our video, our slideshow of what's on Nature's Wave, and then we'll talk about what's on my counter, and then we'll do our sensory quiz with the kids and see how good they are at it. and then we'll talk about what we're doing next week and say goodbye. So let's watch our video now. Okay. I hope you enjoyed that. It's like just, I love this time of year. I just love the colors. I love that one quote about how autumn is like the second spring with every leaf being a flower. But it's crazy to me how the flowers are still popping up. Like those are roses that Tristan just picked for me. And the goldenrod, this is, I know, kind of a little bit late in the season for goldenrod, but it was just vibrant when I was at the farm yesterday. So I picked some. Of course, there's a lot of seeds that are out. So I've got the Eden and Promo seeds that I've got, and this is the milkweed seeds. I love looking at the leaves. Let's see. Here's some leaves that I picked. I just want to remind y'all that you need to figure out what trees grow around you now, because you can tell if you can mark your trees and know every tree on your land, you can know whether you can tap it for sap, for water or to turn into syrup or even jellies. I forgot to tell you about that with the black walnuts. Did you know that you can actually tap a black walnut tree? And I can't remember, one of you guys told me that, so I looked into it, and sure enough, it's supposed to be absolutely delicious. So I'm going to do that this year for sure. And of course, you have to boil it down. I'm not sure what the ratio is, but the black walnut, figure out which your black walnut trees are now. It's not hard to figure it out because they'll probably have hulls everywhere. And then be sure you tap it in February. Also, you want to figure out what your oak trees are. You can get water from these, but it's not really all that prolific. This is, you know what kind of a leaf this is, guys? What is this?
Maple.
This is a maple, but it's not a sugar maple. It's a red maple. And the way you can tell is because the sinus between the lobes is a V and not a U. Okay. And then this here is a birch. Isn't that pretty? So figure out what all your colors in birch. You can also tap a birch. I love, 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 love. We're going to probably do a whole class on this one because the energy that we want is in the roots and the bark. What is this, guys? You recognize this one?
No.
Look at this pretty maple as well. All right, this here is a sassafras. So everybody take a leaf and crunch it up and tell me what it smells like. Actually, this is the part that smells. So just kind of scratch that. Smell that. What does that smell like? Here, buddy. This one's for you. You can chew on it as well. These make great toothpicks.
I don't know what it smells like. It just smells delicious.
It smells delicious, he says. Okay, it's very spicy.
Spicy.
It's very spicy. So this is sassafras. And do you remember how sassafras has 3 different types of leaves? It has the 3 lobes. See those lobes? Mm-hmm. And then it has the 1 lobe, the thumb. And then it has the mitten. You see the mitten here? Mm-hmm. With just the 2. So it's like God couldn't make up his mind. It's like, okay, we're going to do 3 different ones on this. Also, there's a mulberry does the same thing with 3 different kind of leaves on it. Now, do you see how green this is, this bark?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is so tasty. These make great hot dog sticks when you're doing a fire. And they also make great...
Because they won't burn as easily?
Well, because they smell and taste like root beer. So if you roast a hot dog over one of these sticks, then you've got a root beer flavoring in your hot dog, which you got to have root beer with a hot dog, for heaven's sakes. So anyway, I love sassafras, and we'll do a whole class on this. This has got such mystery to it and so many gifts. It's just amazing. So figure out what your trees are now and on your land so that you know what you can tap and what you've got, what abundance you have. All right, so let's talk about, let's taste. Let's go ahead and taste. This is an English walnut. Everybody take one of those. Okay. And you're used to eating those, right, from the grocery store. Now try a black walnut. And tell me what the difference is in the taste. Do they taste identical to you? Are they the same?
Not really.
No. Which one is spicier? The black walnut, right?
That one has its own flavor, and that one has a butterier Like
Yes, yes.
delicious.
Yeah, but this has got a really strong flavor. So if you're going to use this in making breads or something, then you know it's not going to be just a nut taste. It's going to be a very strong flavor.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't forget that because you're going to, when you do a quiz, you have to tell when I put it on your tongue which one it is. All right, this is the hickory nuts that you guys just were shelling. Let's try those. And this is going to go in our egg salad sandwiches today. What do you think of that? Isn't that the best? Which one do you like the best?
That one.
I know, but they're hard to get out, aren't they? But they're worth it, I think. Okay, so here's this is going to be on your quiz again. Now this, you guys know what that is?
That's chestnut.
Good guess, but it's not a chestnut. This is
That one's a
poisonous.
chestnut.
This is the chestnut. Remember, it has the little tail. This tail
Yeah.
fell off. But this is a buckeye, which is toxic.
I
But they
forgot what it is.
feel so
They
soft.
do. That one's
I love to
huge.
play with them. They're just so fun. And they're just, we should make games with these. I've got a lot of them. Okay.
That one's like a chestnut toss.
Yeah, or let's come up
Something.
with some cool game. All right, then the chestnuts are the edible ones, and they have a tail, and they're not near as shiny. See the difference? Now, if you were blindfolded, would you be able to tell the difference?
I would. Yeah. This one's so much smoother.
All right, well, let's see.
And that one's.
And if I put this in your hand, are you going to be able to tell that that's
It feels like it almost
butternut?
feels like a kiwi almost. I know.
like a kiwi? If you touched it when I first picked it off the tree, it was green and super sticky, like almost like an adhesive. So let's taste the butternut and see what you think of these. You can take those as well. No, you can't because you need it for the test. Okay.
That's good.
What do you think? Is that good? Kind of a buttery flavor. That's why it's called a butternut, I think. All right. And then if I put this in your hand, so the hickory nuts, they have these hulls on them that break open. Will you be able to tell that's a hickory nut if I put that in your hand? Or if I put this is the husk and this is the nut.
I'm gonna feel it.
Yeah. Okay. And then that's, you can just break it apart.
It kind of feels like these.
Now, these are not wild nuts, but can you recognize them? What's that?
That looks like a peach seed or something.
It does look like a peach seed. Excuse me, this is an almond.
It is?
Yeah, so when I was a kid, in our stockings, we always got almonds and we got hazelnuts, which are right here, and we got Brazil nuts. These are Brazil nuts. Very unusual nut meats inside of these, but these are just, we bought these at the grocery store, but we would get these. That's another Brazil nut.
I'm gonna feel it.
So,
It feels so cool.
all right. Are you guys ready? Are you ready for your quiz?
Yes.
Let's try it. Let's put you in the goldenrod.
Goldenrod looks nice.
And if it comes
it
off, you
smells
just
nice.
close your eyes and promise me that you're not going to look. All right. And that's, whoops, I'm stuck. Okay. And then let's get you in this one. And I might not put a nut in your hand. I might put something else and you're going to have to figure it out. Yes. And I've missed you guys so much. So they are Wild Blessing students in North Dakota. They've been watching and sometimes they've participated in contests. And did Holly send you a prize?
Yes.
Yep, I did.
And we got a sitting spot.
You have a sit spot. That's so cool. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put something in your hand and you're going to tell me what it is. Come stand over closer here so people can see you, Clara. Ready?
A walnut, black walnut
A black walnut. Is it with the shell or without the husk?
with the husk.
With the
With
husk. Now smell it. Is that a black walnut?
Yeah.
Are you pretty sure? Would you bet your life on it?
Uh-huh.
Yep. You know, I think it'd be fun to play baseball with these.
It would be.
One thing I did do with them is I took them down to the river because I got them at the Todd Island Park and I was throwing them in the river to Max and he would go collect them because he would play ball with it, like because they float. All right, guys, open your mouths and I'm going to put something in it and you tell me which nut this is. Okay? Is it the English walnut, the butternut, or the black walnut?
The English walnut.
Yes, you got it, girl. Okay, let's try a different one. Ready? See, you can say it
Is
first.
it the butternut?
Nope.
The black walnut.
Nope.
Black walnut has more of a stronger flavor.
It might not even be a walnut. It's the one you like the best.
No, I forgot what it's called.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I'll put it in your hands, and then you'll have to tell me what it is. This is the nut you were just eating. Can you tell what that is?
I can forget stuff so easily.
Hickory dickory dock.
Hickory nut.
Yep, it's a hickory nut. Okay,
Got it.
this is what you guys just spent 20 minutes digging out of their shells. Okay, let's do open mouths like little birds. Okay, here comes one for you and one for you. What is that?
English walnut. Black walnut.
Black walnut. Do you feel that cherry flavor? Okay, what is that nut? And what is this nut?
The butternut.
You've got the butternut, and what do you have?
This feels like some type of walnut or something.
Yeah, but which one is it?
Maybe the black one.
That's
Black
it.
walnut.
Right. All right, put it down on the counter right there, and then tell me what this one is.
I don't know what it's called. I forgot.
That one came from the store.
Yeah. It's not the black walnut, it's the
English walnut.
English walnut, or Jugalen's Regia. Say that. Jugalen's Regia. Jugalen's Regia. All right. And then last one. Okay, you're going to have a different nut than he has. So which one do you have, Clara?
The black eye thing.
The buckeye. And what do you have?
Chestnut.
Chestnut. Can you feel the little bit of the tail there?
Yeah.
Even though
That's
I
straight.
knocked it off? Okay.
Oh, this one's so soft.
Okay, close your eyes, guys. Don't look. What is that?
The root. The root I was cutting. Tristan was cutting.
Yeah, which root is that?
Burdock.
Burdock. And so burdock can be made into anything. Hamburgers, bacon, pepperoni. Did you ever make pepperoni with me with these?
No.
It's just so amazing. Okay, guys. Let's do one more. All right. Are you ready?
Is it a mouth?
Open mouth. And here comes yours. What do you got?
Those berries.
What kind of berries are they?
They're so delicious.
They're so delicious. What are they? Autumn olive berries. That's what you were deberrying for me earlier.
They're so good.
I know, they're so good. Okay, one more. I forgot about this one. I'm only going to give this one to Tristan to do.
No, so nice.
All right, hand it to your sister. See if
It's a
she can.
chestnut. Ow.
Yeah, I know. It's like a porcupine. This is the evil chestnut. Man. So, okay, guys, take off your things. You did quite well. I'm very proud.
So bright.
Yeah, no, it's bright. You did a good job. So we want to use all 5 of our senses in absorbing nature and soaking in the glory around you. So you're going to use, what are our 5 senses? You use your
Hearing.
sight, and how would you use your hearing?
Smelling.
Does that sound like a black walnut?
Yep.
Finally, let's listen to the different ones. This is an English walnut.
Oh, that one has more.
How does this sound? That's the buckeye. All right, so you can learn by hearing, listening to the bird sounds, listening to the wind as it swishes through the leaves. What else? What are some other senses? The ones you were just doing with your fingers. What's that? The sense of feel, the touch, and the smell. We were smelling them. Absolutely. So praise God for all of these different aspects. Are we out of time? All these different gifts that He's given us that we can enjoy His creation, and man, we are just loved. Which reminds me of our memory verse from last week, which is, "Do not fear, for I am with you." You'll never be alone, and God will never leave you or forsake you. He's closer than your breath. And the one who created all this bounty is the one who loves you and gave Himself for you. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week when we will be learning from Jana Jones. She's going to be teaching about how to make tea bags. And then I believe Jody's coming back to teach us how to stay warm in the winter if we're out of power for some reason. And Jason's going to show us how to make a rocket stove. And I also wanted to just tell you something extremely exciting to me. You know how many times I send out packages to the winners of our contest, but I got a package yesterday from Cindy Christ, and this is goldenrod hydrosol. She has the most beautiful essential oil still, and so she made essential oil out of the goldenrod that she wildcrafted, and then this is the hydrosol from it. You guys want to close your eyes and I'll spray your face. Don't open your eyes. And tell me what that smells like. Ah, it's amazing. I love it so much. So remember we had a class on goldenrod where I taught you all of the amazing things that goldenrod does for you. If you haven't watched that one, I'll give the link below. But this is really good for allergies. So if you've got allergy reaction or something, you can spray your face with it. It's good for a lot of other things too. Isn't that good? And then she made a sandalwood
Soap.
so I don't know if it's a soap. I haven't tried it yet. I'll have to put in the comments what it is she said about this, but she makes her own soaps, and her business is called Following Seasons Botanicals, and she's from San Diego, an herb sister from Herb Mentor that I've known for many years. And so thank you, Cindy. You're such a blessing to me. I did not pick a contest winner for this week because I only had 2 contestants. So this week, we're just going to continue the same thing from last. So if you take a video, you guys can do this as well. If you take a video, just a 15-second video of the leaves falling or of autumn colors or of something that celebrates this season, then post that on our Facebook page and for a chance to win. And then the other thing you can do is you can take a picture of your foraging basket. It might be some apples that you collected. It could be, oh my gosh, look at these sycamore leaves. Aren't they huge? Look at that.
That's as big as my face.
I know. This reminds me of, who's that character in the
Oh, this is
Bible?
ripped.
Zacchaeus was a wee little man. Anyway, he climbed a sycamore tree to see the Lord. So I love these leaves, but for some reason, there are no seed pods this year on any of the sycamores, which blows my mind. Okay. What was I just talking about? I don't remember. Oh, so I wanted to say that if you have something that you offer in the herbal world or whatever, and you would like to share, or maybe it's just that you make jewelry like Maggie Russell or something, I would love to have a class in November where each of you gets to share 5 minutes about what it is you offer so that we can support one another. So Maggie, you'll be sharing about your amazing jewelry, and Cindy, you can talk about the things that you make with seasons, following seasons. And then tonight, Rachel Glokowski is doing a class on this plant here. That's okay. These are autumn olives, and here's what they look like on the branch. And Clara, what were you just doing with this branch? She spent a good hour deberrying these beautiful autumn olive branches full of berries. Okay, tonight I'll put the link below. Rachel, who's a mushroom expert, is going to be giving an entire webinar on autumn olives, so you don't want to miss that. So I would love that. If you're interested in being a part of that class in November, contact me, and I would sure love to promote what you do. And you could even be an author like Kathleen Robinson. She wrote a book called Shattered Guilt that she sent to me for my birthday. I read it in one day. It just captivated my heart, my mind, and my attention. I could not put it down. I'm such an all or nothing person, so I just read it all in one day. And then I've already lent it to someone. So I'll put a link to that in the comments if anyone wants to support her in that. She's an amazing author. Okay, thank you for joining me. Thank you, kids. Let's eat lunch. I'm hungry.
Me too.
Yes.
Hooray.
See you next week.
Good.
Bye.
Yeah, this one's fat and juicy.